Hurricane Center. What's it look like on satellite? You have to think that we have a stronger Helene. Our hurricane hunters are in there too.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with the new update that's going to be coming in about the next 15 minutes or so. I mean, some of that dry air has tried to push its way in, but it looks like it's getting buffed out, and that deep thunderstorm development is still starting to take over. But the presentation of the bands is also very impressive. You can see in that last satellite loop, that deep thunderstorm development on the northern end of those outer bands too, that's going to continue to wrap up. I mean, it's sitting over incredibly warm waters. And with that, over the next 12, 15 hours, this is where we're really going to see that intensification begin to take place. But the field itself, you're already seeing these outer rain bands not only push up through the peninsula, Ian, you've already felt the impact of that, but the cloud shield is impressive to see how this has been venting over the last, couple of hours since it became a hurricane this morning.
Yeah, that oftentimes can be a harbinger of things to come, right? When you start seeing that look on the satellite presentation and you see all of a sudden a storm that starts ramping up, that inner core at that point is formed and healthy. So we'll be watching for that as we await on the new update from the National Hurricane Center coming up sometime right around the top of the hour. Let's talk about the storm surge. This is a place, in fact, this metro area, Tampa, St. Pete, down to Sarasota, is the most populated, the most populous, the most vulnerable metro in this country to storm surge. That's especially the case post-pandemic with the amount of folks that have moved here. So you're looking out at Bayshore in Tampa. That's a spot that floods, unfortunately, far too common. Some of the afternoon thunderstorm type stuff, you spill a drink, you can get some flooding. But you look at where the bay is, it doesn't have to come up very much to start seeing some issues there and in many low-lying spots around this beautiful region. That's just one example. You look out behind me at the Gulf of Mexico, you see the shape of the coastline. Even with that storm passing offshore, there's going to be this huge perpendicular component to the wind, pushing the water into the coastline. And you're seeing the wind gusts with the Fox model coming in. It won't be until the center is about a beam outside of in the bay, or even a southerly wind will generate a big time surge. There isn't that much water in the bay with an average depth of just about 12 feet outside, of course, of the shipping channels that are dredged big time to 50 or 60 feet, and you get the shipping vessels and the cruise ships that come in. They stay in the channel for obvious reasons. Outside of that, there isn't a lot of water, as I mentioned, and you've got two inner bays that are shaped like mitts, like pockets, in Hillsborough Bay and Old Tampa Bay. That's what we're looking at here, the forecast from the National Hurricane Center. It's up to 8 feet, which would exceed some of the records set by Idalia last year, a storm that made landfall off to the north of the bay. But it gets worse as you move north of where I am, up the Nature Coast, and then especially into the Big Bend region of Florida, which I talked about Tampa Bay. I say Tampa Bay. It was Tampa Bay for a while. When I was living down here, 2 Cups and a Super Bowl, you've got the Big Bend, which is shaped just like that, a bend that can catch all of that water, Jane, and that's where we could see an extreme surge. And that would be an unsurvivable surge in coastal areas of up to about 15 feet, and that's what you're seeing with some of these projections, Jane.